What would you do if your parents missed the most important day of your life and then asked you for money like nothing ever happened? I'm not talking about 20 bucks for gas. They asked for $2,100. 2 days after skipping my graduation. No congratulations. No apology. Just a demand. For my sister's sweet 16. Yeah, let that sink in. I'm Jade. I'm 22. I just graduated college, top of my class, with honors, and not a single dollar from my parents. I paid my way through with scholarships, part-time jobs, and late nights that nearly broke me. I dreamed of that one moment, walking across the stage, hearing my name, and looking up to see them in the crowd. But when my name was called, silence. Just rows of strangers clapping politely. The two people I expected to see most? Gone. No text. No excuse. Nothing. At first, I thought maybe something had happened, an emergency, a flat tire, anything. But 2 days later, I got a text from my mom. It wasn't an explanation. It wasn't an apology. It was a Venmo request. And that's when everything changed. Have you ever felt the exact moment your heart drops? I stood on stage in my cap and gown, gripping the edge of my diploma folder, scanning the crowd like my life depended on it. Everyone had someone, parents with signs, siblings cheering, even the random dude who brought a whole foghorn. Me? Nothing. Just a sea of unfamiliar faces. No mom. No dad. No, that's my girl. From the nosebleeds. I kept telling myself maybe they're late. Maybe traffic. Maybe something. But the truth hit faster than I wanted to admit. They never planned to come. They just didn't care. What made it worse? I had invited them. Weeks in advance. Sent a formal invite. Texted the morning of. Excited to see you guys today. No response. And as I stood there pretending to smile for photos, I caught myself doing something weird. I kept looking at the parking lot. Like maybe, just maybe, they'd show up late. Come rushing in, out of breath, with some excuse. But they never came. A friend's mom offered to take pictures with me so I wouldn't feel left out. Yeah, that happened. I went home that night, still wearing the gown. Just sat on my bed, holding the diploma like it owed me an explanation. But the explanation came 2 days later. In a text. And what it said. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just neglect. It was disrespect. And I was done pretending it didn't matter. Have you ever opened a message expecting one thing and got slapped in the face with something completely different? 2 days after graduation, my phone buzzed. Mom. Finally. For a split second, I actually smiled. I thought, okay, here it is. The apology. The explanation. Something. Nope. The message said, hey, we need $2,100 for Mia's sweet 16. Send it by Friday. That was it. No, sorry we missed your big day. No, how was the ceremony? Not even a lazy congrats. Just a bill. I stared at that text so long my screen dimmed. And here's the part that messed with my head. A tiny piece of me still wanted to believe there was some misunderstanding. Some missing context. So I asked her, why didn't you come to graduation? You ever get a reply so fast you know they were waiting for you to ask? Mom responded, oh, we had things to do. Mia needed to pick out her birthday dress. A dress. A birthday dress outranked my college graduation. Tell me how that makes sense. Tell me how a dress becomes more important than 4 years of grinding, crying, and pushing yourself to exhaustion. I even checked my dad's messages. Nothing. He didn't even pretend to care. That was the moment something in me clicked. Snapped. Shifted. I realized they only reached out when they wanted something from me. Never for me. Never about me. So I decided, for the first time in my life, to give them exactly what they deserved. But the way I did it? That's the part no one in my family saw coming. What's the pettiest thing you've ever done that also felt completely earned? Because when I saw that $2,100 request, I didn't just ignore it. I didn't even decline. I sent them exactly $1. Not as a mistake. Not as a joke. But as a message. With the memo line. Congrats, Mia Party Popper. I hit send. And I smiled. The silence after was beautiful. See, they expected me to just fold. To give in like always. I was the mature one, right? The responsible one. The one who understood. But that label? It was just their excuse to take and take and take, without ever giving a damn about how I was doing. I told my best friend about the dollar. She nearly choked on her iced coffee. Jade, you didn't, she laughed. Oh, I did. And I'm not done. Because here's the thing, I wasn't just angry. I was done being accessible. Done letting people waltz into my life only when they needed something. My parents used to say, as long as you're under our roof, you follow our rules. But guess what? I pay my own rent now. The lease? It's in my name. The utilities? My name. The front door key? Mine. So I went out. Bought a brand new lock. Changed it that night. Slept like a baby. It felt good, like I was finally taking control. But then, a few days later, there was a knock on my door. And it wasn't my parents. It was the police. Ever opened your front door expecting a package and instead found a police officer? Yeah, that happened. 3 solid knocks. I looked through the peephole, saw a badge, a uniform, and a face that said, "This isn't a social call." I opened the door slowly. "Can I help you?" I asked, heart already racing. The officer glanced down at his notepad. "Are you Jade Collins?" "Yeah. We got a call about a domestic dispute. Possible unlawful eviction." "Mind if we come in for a minute?" I blinked. An unlawful eviction? Of who? Me? Turns out, my mom had called the police and told them I'd locked them out of their own home and stolen personal property. Let that sink in. They don't live with me. They've never lived with me. But because I changed my own locks, they tried to weaponize the police to force their way back into my space. I invited the officer in, calmly handed over my lease, my ID, and all the receipts. Literally. He looked at everything, gave me this half smile like he already knew this was a joke. "So, your parents don't live here. And you're the only name on this lease. Correct?" He nodded slowly, then radioed back something like, "All clear, situation resolved." But before he left, he said something I'll never forget. "People get real entitled when they think biology trumps boundaries." Then he left. But my parents? They didn't. They came back the next day in person, screaming. What do you do when the people who raised you act like strangers and expect you to play along? They came back the next morning. No warning. No text. Just rage. I opened the door and there they were, my mom yelling, my dad red-faced and pacing behind her like a bodyguard. "You think you're grown now," she shouted. "After everything we did for you?" I didn't raise my voice. I didn't flinch. I just stood there and said, "Name one thing. Just one. That you did for me." Silence. They tried to pivot, turned it into guilt, like they always did. "We fed you. We gave you a roof." No, I cut in. "You gave me rules. You gave me silence when I needed support. You gave me shame for asking for help." Mom's eyes welled up. But not the kind of tears that come from regret, the kind that come from losing control. "You've changed," she whispered. "I grew up," I replied. And then I closed the door. No screaming. No final warning. Just a soft, satisfying click of the lock turning behind me. They haven't contacted me since. "Mia?" She texted once, saying the party was still fun. I left her on read. Because here's what I finally learned. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. And when they didn't, I finally did. For myself. If you've ever had to walk away from someone who should have been there for you, I see you. And if you haven't yet, maybe this is your sign.